Some of the biggest names in football are caught in the middle of a very public tug-of-war with a lot at stake.
I don't think they're very close right now, and I don't think that he's particularly pleased.
Resolving these scenarios are no walk in the park either. Let's take a look around the league and call out stars who are going to war with their teams. Baltimore Ravens, TE, Mark Andrews. The tight end that's been Lamar Jackson's security blanket for half a decade is suddenly expendable? Yeah, crazy how quickly the tides can turn in the NFL. Mark Andrews is entering a contract year with a $16.9 million cap hit. And the rumors started to get very loud around the draft when it became public that the Ravens would clear $11 million by moving him. GM Eric DeCosta played coy, and, well, that's putting it lightly. During a pre-draft meeting, Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta was opaque as it gets when he was asked about Andrews' future with the team. I never know what's going to happen, and I would never want to say this or that, but I can tell you this. Mark Andrews is a warrior, and he's played his butt off for us. And his competitiveness, his talent, his attitude, his leadership is so valued here, DeCosta said. He's a great player, and we're in the business of keeping as many great players as we can. So there's always a lot of unpredictability with the drafts, just you never know. Well, the date has come and passed, but when you combine the building narrative with Andrews' brutal finish with the 2-point conversion drop and fumble and a playoff loss to Buffalo, well, it's starting to feel like the writing is at least penciled on the wall. Yeah, he's still elite by many metrics, and is still a high-value player at one of the most important positions in the modern offense, as indicated by the fact that he's still second on team in targets. And of course, is still very tight with Lamar. But the Ravens are retooling, and at some point, Andrews might be the veteran casualty that no one wants to admit is coming, even if he and franchise quarterback Lamar Jackson are thick as thieves. Pittsburgh Steelers OLB TJ Watt. Given the stability of the franchise and the star's interest in staying in town, this one's a little less messy. But make no mistake, it is high stakes. The Steelers have a long history of paying their stars to keep them in town long term. It just doesn't always happen on the fastest timeline. That was true for Cam Hayward, it was true for Troy Polamalu, it was even true for Watt himself during his last contract cycle. But now the market has shifted again, and Watt's projected value could soar past the $40 million per year mark. And that is where things start to tighten, because while he is certainly worth it in isolation, the Steelers are already carrying future cap hits and have a lot of retooling to do up and down the roster. That's what makes this also tricky, because while they want to do whatever they need to keep Watt in town, when you're staring down a cap sheet for 2026 and beyond, well, the decision becomes infinitely more complex. For now, there's no panic, but there is pressure building because no one in Pittsburgh wants to imagine this team without number 90 in the huddle. In a city where defense is part of the cultural DNA, it is hard to overstate just how destabilizing it would feel to see him walk. Not just for the locker room, oh no, but for the soul and identity of the very franchise. Cincinnati Bengals DE, Trey Hendrickson. This one was already tense, and then the Bengals went and drafted behind him on the depth charts high in the draft, and Trey Hendrickson skipped minicamp, which only turned up the heat. The man led the NFL in sacks last season. I mean, that stat alone should make this an easy negotiation. But, of course, this is Cincinnati we're talking about. A franchise where eventually isn't always in the vocabulary. Hendrickson is 29, still in his prime, and the most reliable disruptor on a defense that desperately needs him. But ownership seems to be signaling that, well, they aren't exactly interested in adjusting his deal. That's a pretty darn bold move, especially considering the Bengals' defense was flat out bad last season and that the team didn't exactly reload. Hendrickson has reportedly been willing to miss games, and if that happens, well, the Bengals are going to be in real trouble. Their margin for error on defense is razor thin, and this roster is not built to carry dead weight in the trenches. So while it might look like a typical holdout on the surface, the context behind it, Cincinnati's contract philosophy, their history with stars, and their recent defensive slide, make this situation way more combustible than it should be. This isn't just a, we'll get to it later kind of issue. It is a potential crisis for a team with a young core of stars on the offensive side of the ball in Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, all while trying to keep its Super Bowl window cracked open. Washington Commanders WR, Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin's name showing up on a list like this might catch some by surprise, given his general good nature and the upswing that the franchise is on. But make no mistake, this is a leverage game in slow motion. McLaurin is now entering the final year of his deal and carrying a $15.5 million base salary, which is definitely low considering what he means to this team. Not to mention, he just posted a career-high 13 touchdowns after finally getting consistent quarterback play and instantly developed chemistry with rookie Jaden Daniels. There is some real momentum in Washington Washington for the first time in years, and McLaurin is a huge part of that, along with Daniels' rapid growth. But the age curve looms. He's going to turn 30 in September, and while he's been a model of consistency through coaching turnover and quarterback chaos, that looming number gives front offices a reason to hesitate on a multi-year mega deal. You know, one that he would likely get on the open market. The longer this drags on, the more questions start to surface, especially in a league that's become increasingly aggressive about the way that they view their star and where he fits into the continued roster reshuffling, as they try to capitalize on Daniels outperforming his rookie deal at quarterback. Atlanta Falcons QB Kirk Cousins, the most expensive backup quarterback in the NFL, and, well, their nightmare became reality in year one. Kirk Cousins was benched in Week 16 last season after a brutal stretch that saw 9 interceptions to just 1 touchdown. And the organization declared Penix the starter moving forward and didn't release Cousins. No, instead, holding out hope that maybe they could find a viable trade partner to recoup some of their investment through the draft. Now Cousins, to his credit, has handled things like a pro. He has said the right things, showed up to mandatory minicamp, but he was absent from OTAs and has made it clear that behind the scenes, he still wants to start somewhere in the NFL. But at this point, no other team seems ready to take the plunge on Cousins. Unless Penix falters badly or a starting QB elsewhere goes down, this one may linger on. Atlanta better just hope that the situation doesn't become fully toxic and start to impact their young quarterback. Dallas Cowboys edge, Micah Parsons. This one's not nuclear yet, but the smoke signals are undeniable. Micah Parsons is now in the final year of his rookie deal and set to earn $24 million on his 5th-year option. He's eligible for a new contract, and after 4 seasons, 52.5 sacks, 4 Pro Bowls, and 2 All-Pro selections, the man is not just looking to get paid, he's looking to reset the market. The target is north of $40 million per year, a deal that would make him the highest-paid non-quarterback in league history. The Cowboys, as they tend to do, are dragging their feet. Stephen Jones offered a vague, "I'll let you know when it happens," and while Parsons has been in and out of voluntary workouts, he is expected to ramp up pressure as training camp nears. This mirrors the CeeDee Lamb holdout from last summer, which dragged until 12 days before the opener. And Dallas eventually paid him, and they'll probably pay Parsons too, given what he means to the franchise, but the longer that they wait, the more this becomes a distraction. And for a defense that's built around his chaos-creating presence, that is a risk that they probably cannot afford to take. Green Bay Packers WR, Romeo Dubs. It's not often a 25-year-old like Romeo Dubs ends up on the trade block, but it's starting to look like that Dubs might be the odd man out in Green Bay. He's entering the final year of his rookie deal, and while both sides have reportedly moved past his early season suspension for conduct detrimental to the team, the competition for targets in this offense has never been higher. And with the Packers investing a 1st and 3rd round draft pick in Matthew Golden and Xavier Williams respectively this spring, a clear sign the front office is preparing for a world without Dubs. That leaves Dubs in an awkward spot. He's productive, polished, and has a defined skill set as a possession threat, but he may not fit the long-term picture in Green Bay. The team's receiver room is crowded, and Dubs might find himself on the outside looking in as the two sides remain in a stalemate. Jacksonville Jaguars RB, Travis Etienne Jr. The former Clemson standout looked like he was shaping into a super productive pro, topping 1,400 scrimmage yards in each of his first 2 seasons. Etienne was a reliable dual-threat weapon with big playability, but in 2024, he took a backseat to Tank Bigsby down the stretch and enters 2025 in a far more crowded backfield after the Jags added more depth in the draft. Etienne is still on his rookie deal, but the Jaguars could clear his cap hit by trading him. That kind of flexibility is hard to ignore, especially if new offensive coordinator Liam Cohen prefers a more committee-based approach. This isn't personal, it's positional math, and for Etienne, that might mean starting over before he even hits his 2nd contract. Tennessee Titans QB, Will Levis. Okay, maybe he doesn't belong in the superstar category just yet, but when your franchise drafts a quarterback number 1 overall less than 2 years after taking you in the 2nd round, you're very much in this conversation. Will Levis entered 2024 with a shot to be the guy in Tennessee. He finished the season with 3 wins, nagging shoulder issues, and a team that ended up earning the top pick in the draft. The Titans used that pick on Cam Ward, and now Levis is stuck in limbo.
Anyone who's ever been in my situation can agree that it sucks. I haven't been a backup in a while, so I don't plan on shifting my mindset at all regardless of what the situation is.
Levis may still get another shot somewhere else, but right now, he's caught in the awkward purgatory between failed starter and unproven trade chip. But which NFL superstar do you think is most at odds with their team? Who do you think is going to work it out? Who is it going to fall apart for? Or is there anyone that we may have missed here? What do you think we got right? What do you think we got wrong? Let us know in the comments section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.